Welcome to the Healthy Over 50 podcast, a space where we explore what it really means to stay strong, energized, and perform at your best in midlife and beyond. Today's conversation is a powerful one. I am joined by Arlette, someone who truly embodies what high performance looks like across both body and career. Arlette has first built an impressive career in tech, working with global companies like Google and Pinterest, while at the same time competing at the highest level in sport. Today, her life has changed. She will tell us about it. She's a champion, a world champion in weightlifting and powerlifting, representing Ireland, which, if you think about it, is already extraordinary on its own. But what makes this conversation so interesting is how she's managed to balance high pressure corporate performance with elite physical level performance and what that actually takes behind the scene. So, in this episode, we're going to talk about what discipline really looks like when it's sustainable, how to build strength, physically and mentally over time, and what we can all learn about energy, resilience, and performance as we move through our 40s, 50s, and beyond. Because it is not about doing more, it's about doing what actually works for your body and your life now. So let's dive in. Arlette, thank you so much for being here today. That's a conversation that I always wanted to have with you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Ali, and I'm really excited about this podcast.
Yeah, so maybe I know you well, but they don't. So
Mm.
would you maybe tell us quickly about yourself?
Well, as you people can hear, I have a French accent. It's 50-50. I would say 50% of people who don't know me when they first meet me, they can recognize the French accent, and some others are more curious and ask me where I'm from. But that's mainly where I'm from. I'm from Normandy, and my mother is from Togo, and my dad is from Benin. And I would say my when it comes to my personality, my personality traits, which is discipline, resilience, courage, hard work, and I would say, and the ability to always try to take on new challenges. I'll definitely say that I got that from my mother, who came to France in the early 70s, and I've seen her working up to three jobs. While she was raising up to six kids at some stage on her own, because after going through a traumatic divorce with my dad when I was 8 years old, so she was on her own, I would say, for 5 to 6 years, and she was on her own raising up six kids in a small apartment. So I've seen her really working hard. She wouldn't be complaining. She wouldn't show even any type of emotions, but she really showed us that to make it in life, you have to have discipline, and you have to work hard for it, because nothing was given to her. She would The good thing is, as well, she would make us accountable. So I've learned having responsibilities and being accountable at early age, because I'm the eldest in the family. I come from I have two brothers and two sisters, and I'm the eldest one. So I had to look after my siblings. So I had to make sure they would be fed. So I had to learn to cook, to do the household, making sure we all had a task that my mother would assign to us. And I had to make sure all the homework was done as well for my siblings. And if something goes wrong, I would be responsible for it. Back then, when I was young, I hated it. I didn't think it was fair. I would take the blame for everything going wrong in the house. But it's good, because when I think back, when I think the kind of person I'm now, it has helped me to go through so many up and down in life, because from early age I had to step up and look after my siblings and get responsibilities. Comparing to the kids we see nowadays, I just find kids nowadays are not prepared for life. The parents spoil them too much, they cuddle them too much, they give them too much. I didn't have that. And especially growing up in the 70s and in the 80s, there was no entertainment, there was no mobile phone, There was no internet, so you had to entertain yourself. So you had to be social, really get along with your siblings, and we'd go out, playing. We loved going out, playing ball, playing games, playing basketball, soccer, you name it. I absolutely loved being outside and playing sports. I think that's where my passion for sports really started, because that's the life we were living. In the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you go out when you are a kid. You don't stay home. My mother wouldn't allow us to watch TV for hours. We had to do the homework, making sure that we keep the house clean, and then she would encourage us to do sports and go outside. So that would give her a peace of mind. I think that was also one of the reasons, but also because she understood that a kid is happier and also, I would say, more disciplined and quiet once is exhausted through sport activity. Through going out and playing the ball. And then when we come back, we wouldn't argue so much. We were five, so two boys and three girls. We were arguing like crazy. But after we went out and we spent all our energy, outside with the friends, you come home, you're more chill. So my mom was clever that way. But it really gave us the passion for sports. We noticed the more active we are, the happier we are. And we are tired. We don't think about anything else. We just want to eat, do our homework, and then go to bed. So we kind of we didn't know, I didn't know anything about mental health and physical health, but I loved it. My favorite time of the year, my favorite time of the day is when I go out playing with my friends. I think especially when you're a kid, you don't like doing homework. So if I had to choose between homework and going playing the ball, I,
Yeah.
I want to go to play the ball. So I think that would be at early age what really shaped me afterwards and towards doing sport. Really understanding the power that sport activity has, not just on the body, but also on your mind and on the mental aspect of it. And yeah, that's it. I don't know if I spoke too much about my personal background, but that's what I wanted to say. And also, my dad is from Benin. So I left France when I was in my early 20s. So I've lived more abroad than I had lived in France now in my entire life.
Wow. And this is so first, like, thanks so much for sharing. For me, it's always an interesting way asking people to introduce themselves, because the way they can choose to introduce themselves a specific way. And what I
Mm,
find super powerful is that you introduce yourself talking about your upbringing and actually what shaped you as an adult woman.
mm,
So that's
mm,
very powerful. I can hear the background, the family background, the diverse origins in the
mm,
family. Uh, but you being brought up in France, and obviously
mm,
the wonderful story of your mom and
mm,
the resilience, the growth mindset she already
mm,
instilled in you from a
mm,
very young age. So that's super powerful.
mm,
I'm a child of a family of five kids as well, so I can
mm,
relate to a lot of the examples that you shared. I love being outside, the
mm,
TV, not being allowed to watch TV. I grew up in the 70s because I'm 48, so I
mm.
understand that. I didn't have the
Yeah,
right to watch TV whenever I
yeah.
wanted. There was a specific time for that. And that
Mm,
actually shapes who you are,
mm,
definitely. And
mm,
that actually says a lot about the way you've been brought up
yeah.
as a young girl, and the strong background that you probably have. I'm sure you have. So
Mm.
thanks for sharing that. So I was going to ask you what really shaped you as a woman today, but you kind of touch on it. Anything that you would add to this?
Um, I will say one thing that um, especially when I was younger, I was a very very strong-headed feminist. I did not, because I've seen my mother going above and beyond to take care of my stepdad. She'd do everything. All he had to do is come home and then put the feet, just sit down on the table and being served. I was traumatized. I didn't want to be in a relationship. I was like, if that's going to be a relationship where I'm kind of I'm the one doing everything in the house. No, 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 no. So I think because I've seen my mother being over traditional, I didn't. I was really like a pure feminist. No way I wanted to be with a guy. It had to be 50-50. I would say over the years I've changed. I understand that as women we have more responsibility of looking after the house, but I think a nice balance is good. It doesn't have to be 50-50, but I think afterwards, when I went into relationships, I've learned getting a balance. I knew I wasn't expected to do everything because that really traumatized me when I saw my mom, especially being coming from the African continent. Women have to do everything in the house, and the man is the king. That's just something that was really into my core. I was like, that shouldn't be the way. But I've changed. I have evolved, and I've been in a relationship where there is a nice balance. I'm not. I don't do everything. The guy as well is cooking a bit, and I'm doing the cooking, and I'm cleaning the house. He does as well a bit. So it's nice now. I like the fact that we live in more modern era. So the woman is not expected to handle all the household. This world doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, no, but that's super
Mm,
interesting. I think you said balance. I think balance is key, and that's
mm,
probably, I think, a key learning for anybody navigating the world today. I
mm,
think balance is critical. Even balance in opinions. I think I started as a feminist a long time
mm,
ago, and as
mm,
you get older and wiser, and that's a personal opinion. Obviously,
mm,
I'm not a feminist. I believe in balance, and I think
mm,
men and women have different things to bring to
mm,
the table. Now every single couple have to
mm.
define
Yeah.
has every single couple has to define what balance is,
Mm,
and that's a very personal
yeah.
definition. And on the African, because we both have African backgrounds,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen it all, even in my own
Mm,
family, from very traditional to
mm,
very modern. So,
mm,
like, some people in my family are extremely modern. So, but yeah, everybody, we all have different personal experiences. Um, what would you say? Because you touch on your mindset already, like
mm,
from the get-go, the way you were brought up, like your
mm,
mom is a role model, and
mm,
it's the inspiring example of
mm,
many African women who came to
mm,
Europe
mm,
that we know of. Like, I hear the story of your mom. I know many stories. Could you touch on the mindset? You touched on the background, but now what is your mindset around work, ambition, and success today?
mm. Today. Oh, it's a great question because it has changed so much. I would say because I've seen my mother struggling, I really, especially when I was younger, for me, the success was you get you get an education, you get a high paying job, you get married, you have kids, and you have your house. That was for me like the perfect model. That for me, success looked like that. A successful career that pays you a lot of money, that enables you to buy your house, get you married, and have the kids. But over the years, it has changed because I've had at early stage straight after I graduated. I got my first, I would say, real job was working for a postal office and as a customer assistant, and I was able to kind of change the role and make it more interesting because I was assigned to a district that's low income with a bad reputation with of danger and violence. But I noticed like there were a lot of association, lot of federation around, and a lot of cultural events happening. And because also the postal office needed, they were also desperate to give a better image of the postal office. So for one of the first events when I started, that was 2 3 months after I started, they asked us if one of us would come to represent the postal office, and I jumped on the occasion. I absolutely loved that event, and it was on the local newspaper. And then I realized that's a perfect opportunity because I looked at the agenda of all the cultural events in that district, and I made sure to be part of it. So I made sure it would be just one day or in the weekend, and it really worked out. So I changed my role into more like a marketing event coordinator, representing the postal office and giving a good image and being involved with the association in that district. And it was one of my favorite job. The salary was very low, but I had so much fun. I was creating my own networking. I was meeting new people. I was even writing the articles. I was meeting journalists. I was meeting the mayor, politicians. That was incredible. That made me realize that I did not see myself as a marketing event coordinator, but I loved it because I developed a new skills and a new network. So, but the money wasn't much. So I realized over the years I had more job like that where I wasn't paid a lot, but I had so much fun. So for me, then success they become different. I think I accepted the fact that you cannot have it all. Either I had very high paying job like my latest job, Pinterest, a six-figure position where I was miserable, or I had job that was paid very low, but I had so much fun. I was laughing with the colleagues. You did not even feel like work. So for me, success is when you can find a balance. I think it's okay to even have jobs. I had jobs where that weren't very exciting, but they enabled me to pay my bills, to save money, spend quality time with the family and the friends and the partner. So that's for me. That's what success is. No matter what the job is, because I think very few people get to do what we do. Working in the field that you love and making some money out of it. So I'll say most people work in jobs that they don't like. But if that job enables you, to go on holidays, provide for your family, spend quality time with your loved ones, saving some money, pushing for your future, following your passion, your personal passion outside work. So that's great. You not everybody has the luxury to do what they love for a living, but as long as you don't lose yourself in the job and the job enables you to grow as a person, I think to me that's what success is. The money is important. Let's be real, it's important, but as long as there is more to it than money, I think for me that's what success looks to me. No, now.
All right. So just to, yeah, so a few things, I think a few gems there that you shared. I love the idea that you said you found yourself in a job that you would
Mm,
not have anticipated that you would have
mm,
worked in,
yeah.
and you realize you loved it.
Mm,
So sometimes life takes us places if we are
yeah.
open to opportunities where we
Yes.
can learn new skills, we can grow, and we can have fun, and we can
Mm,
find joy,
mhm,
and we can connect. Because I feel
mm,
like connection is a big thing for you. Because when you
yes.
spoke earlier about your childhood, you've mentioned going outside, being excited to meet friends
Mm,
outside, connect.
mm,
And there again, you were talking about that great
mm,
experience where your face is actually lighting up.
mm,
And when you spoke about connecting with people, so I
mm,
can't help but notice that,
mm,
and that is wonderful. So what I'm hearing is success. The definition of success changes over time,
mm. Yes.
but it seems like what would you say is so success is not linked to money necessarily.
Yes. Mm,
What is it if you had to, and sorry to put you on the spot with
yeah.
kind of a an original question. It's
Mm,
like I'm a visual person, so if I had to ask you,
mm,
what would be if we had to use an equation to
mm,
define
mm.
what success is, would you say success equal this plus that? What would that be? What would be the unknown values that you would put in your equation for success?
So I would say for me is when you can live according to your live according to your values, while you're also able to grow, as a person. What I mean by that, to grow, to live by your values. You see, last year, as I was mentioning, I worked 6 years, for Pinterest, and I grew really like into that role, into that industry in sales and digital marketing. I started at the lowest level. That's when we met, actually, in 2017,
Yeah,
2018.
that's very
I was
true.
at
Yeah,
the
I remember
that
that.
was at I was at the lowest level, and it was fun. I think it was perfect at the time, especially to train for bodybuilding, because it was easier for me to really coordinate my training, my nutrition, while doing the job full time and going to the office 5 days a week. Because before COVID, everybody was going to the office 5 days a week. So, and then I was able to grow to a six-figure salary. But what happened then? Once I was at the peak of my career, I forgot to mention it earlier. My binge eating disorder came up. So that's something I forgot to when I introduced. That's something I forgot to mention. I have a binge eating disorder that I have developed since childhood, because when I was mentioning my mother comes from a background where when she was a child, she's seen her mother who was starving herself so that herself and her brother could eat. So she comes from a background where she didn't have food
Oh
on the
my
table
God.
every
Okay.
single day, and she got traumatized by that. So when she came to France and she has money, my mother would always shop for an army. I've grew up with a huge amount of quantity of food available in the fridge, in the freezer. My mother would always overshop and she would always overfeed. Everything was around food in the house. She would shop like for the whole supermarket. It was
But that's
something
that's
crazy.
normal. That's totally understandable. And that comes from
Yeah,
love, actually.
yeah. For her, that was how she showed love. But everybody in my family now, we all have binge eating disorder, so that I have managed up and down. But when I came to Pinterest, I think I weigh some. I'm gonna give kg, so it's easier. I
Yeah.
think I was like 84, 85 kg, and when I left when I went before I went on sick leave, I was up to nearly 120 kg. So I
Yeah.
gained, like a huge amount of weight because of my binge eating disorder. And my colleague, because at the time I was still competing in powerlifting, I was still getting title. So people were confused. People were thought that I was getting that big because it's for the sport, and it's not. As a power
Okay.
lifter, you don't have to be big to lift big. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just I would the binge eating disorder. The way it works is I would eat my emotions. I'm stressed.
Yeah.
I'm feeling lonely. I'm ashamed of something. All my emotions is through food. That would be my therapy. So and I could eat a quantity people cannot even realize. I can eat 3, 4 pizza, and I will still be hungry. It's just my brain doesn't process, when I'm full. My body's
Yeah.
telling me I'm full, but my brain says keep going, because we grew up with that scarcity mindset where if you don't
Yeah.
eat it now, you are missing out. That's called scarcity mindset. So I grew up with that, and that's something I've battled the past 30, 40 years. My weight have gone from 65 kg to 115, 120 kg the past 30 years because of my binge eating disorder that started in childhood. So 2 years ago, I decided to really look after it. I spent 6 months in a national eating disorder to um, to really learn how to deal with the eating disorder. I think I still have it, but I'm fully aware. I'm aware of my emotions. When I eat with full awareness. I eat when I'm hungry. I'm listening to my body. I'm listening to my emotions, whether they're negative or positive. They are fine. So I've learned a healthy way dealing with my emotion and my trauma. So that's what I learned during the National Eating Disorder Center. So it's been nearly 2 years, but I'm still in treatment. It's ongoing. It's a daily battle. So even like last Friday, I wanted to buy my treat for the weekend, and I love spelt cakes, the spelt cakes, and I was tempted to buy three because I'm like, it's my treat. I have to have it now, or I'm missing out. So even the scarcity mindset still follows me, but I'm able to identify it, and I have to talk myself out of it. Said Arlette, it's fine. You're gonna have a couple of rice cakes, and that's it. It's not the end of the world. You have some more some other days. And I had to talk myself. I was even the shop assistant was wondering what is she doing, because I have to talk myself in front of the space cake. I have to meditate. I have to. So people don't understand it's an addiction, and I've accepted it. You have to treat the eating disorder like an addiction. It's like being addicted to drug or to alcohol. People don't realize it's a daily battle. So sometimes when I go to the supermarket, I have to calm my mind and say, Arlette, it's fine. You buy just what you need, and then you still have stock. It's fine. You eat. You will come back to the supermarket and you buy some more the other days. It's not the end of the world. It's not the apocalypse. You don't have to buy the whole division. It's fine. So this is a daily. People don't realize, but I have to talk myself like that every day, even when I go
Wow.
to Tesco. So that's why I decided it's time for me to go. Money is not everything. So I left a very, very well paid job, and I didn't have any job, no safety net. First time in my life, I leave a job and I don't have another one lined up. And I decided to leave. And the great thing is, 3, 4 months later, my local gym where I train told me they needed someone to work part time. So I've been working there part time since October. And I had no plan when I left. I was like, I will see where the life takes me, because I wanted to live according to my values. And for me, mental health is important. So that's what I value first. And then having enough money to be able to handle my expenses is important as well. So I have that. I have the stability there. And then earlier this year, I got a new client. I do personal training with her. And financially, it's for sure I'm making a third of what I used to make, but I'm much happier. Especially my mental health is the best that it has never been. I'm happier. I look good. I'm turning 51, but even I feel like I'm looking as good as when I was in my 20s. I've never been happier than I'm now. So that's why for me
Wow.
success is living according to your values. You will make tough decisions. You will have to live outside your comfort zone, because I was in my comfort zone at Pinterest. I could have kept going, but I would have hit right bottom if I had kept working there. So it was the best
Wow.
decision to walk away.
That's wonderful. So I just want to pause here just to so a lot of things that you've shared here. First, thank you so much for sharing because this is so personal. And on top of that, it's quite amazing. I have to say the level of awareness that you have, like the examples that you're sharing, like when you go to the shop and you have to speak to yourself and being aware of your like thoughts, emotions, because
Mm,
those are causing the reactions and the
mm,
actions.
mm,
So thoughts, emotions, they're really linked to the energy we
hmm.
have, whether
Yeah.
we feel afraid, angry, or we feel more kind of calmer. So it's just almost like having yourself like being able to have your own perception of yourself
Hmm.
and look inwards to see where you're at
Hmm.
and then adjust your behavior accordingly. So
Yeah.
that's super powerful. Like it's almost the example you shared is almost like a tool
Yeah.
that people can use as well. So thanks so much for that. So my initial question was though, what is your equation for success?
Mm.
So that is, could you just give me the key items in that equation?
For me, a work and life balance, and then living according to your personal values.
Okay, work
Mm,
and life balance
mm,
and living according to your personal values. Okay, that's
mm.
great. That's great. Cool. So that there is a bit of happiness in it, right? If you're living according to your
Yes,
values.
yes, exactly. Because when you live according to your values, I think you live in your true self.
Mhm.
You live life on your own terms. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Mm,
Okay, now that's super powerful. Yeah, for
mm,
me it's the same. At 48, things have evolved. We have a very similar
mm.
story.
Yeah.
Used to be in tech for 20 years, and now I
Mm,
just there are things I could not do, and there are things
mm.
I would not compromise with. I say no
Yeah.
to clients
Mm,
because I just don't feel it would be right
mm-hmm.
or that I'm the right coach
Yeah.
for them. Or I would not work with an organization that I don't feel aligned with.
Yeah.
So it's for me. So success for me is linked to a bit of happiness because if I'm not
Hmm.
happy where I am,
Mm,
to me that's not real success because it looks like
yeah.
success on the outside but
Mm,
inside is like
mm,
misery or a nightmare. So to me
mm,
that's not success because there is no
yeah.
happiness deep inside.
Mm,
And in the long term sustainable success, I
mm,
think you gotta have some internal happiness with it because
yes.
it's exhausting to
Mm,
keep going.
mm,
But anyway, I can keep going on that topic for a very long
yeah.
time. But I
Yeah.
want to hear more about you. Sorry, did I
Mm.
interrupt you?
No, no, not at all, not at all. No, that's true. I didn't mention happiness, but for me, because it's so it's for me it's so obvious. That's why I didn't even mention it. But you're right, because I feel like when you live yeah, according on your own terms and according to your values, obviously it will lead to happiness, and it's everything. To me, it's so important. Even if we cannot be happy every single day, but at least working towards that, and being content
Yeah,
with it, I think to me is the yeah is key.
totally. And I think people, not everybody, when they think about their careers or their lives, not everybody thinks about happiness. I think a lot of people forget about it. I think now
Mm,
it's becoming more and more. People
mm,
realize that it's important. It's okay if you're
mm,
not happy to look for happiness in what you do. But
mm,
I don't think it's obvious to a lot of people. People are just
yeah.
waking up now.
Mm,
Um, all right. So, something that I'm really interested in, and we have a lot of things to cover, but I have to talk about the kind of the elephant in the room because at the end of
mm,
the day, you are a world champion.
mhm,
And like there is the corporate Arlette and there
mm,
is the sport athlete. You and I
mhm,
met in the gym. You
mhm,
were preparing for a bikini competition a long, long
mm,
time ago. I think that
yeah.
was before my dad passed away. So that was
Mm.
I can't even
2017.
remember. Yeah, it was in
2017. Yeah,
17. Yeah.
yeah.
And you were like shredded, like super like lean. And so could you just briefly, you have so many you won so many competitions and we can see kind of the trophies behind you. Could you
Mm,
just tell us a bit about, hey, in terms of a sport athlete, this is what I do, this is what I've done, this is what I do, and maybe this is where I'm going. You want to
mm,
share that with us? Because I think you can inspire so many people. Because in the sport there is that discipline. So
mm.
just tell us. We want to know.
Yeah, so I can explain how I went into powerlifting. So I remember when I was back then I was in Right Minds, and I just joined a gym, and there was this personal trainer who was giving you two free sessions, and then afterwards you could walk with him. So I said, let's go for it. And after the first one of the reasons why I wanted to hire the personal trainer is just because I wanted to get back in shape. My usual dilemma. And then after 6 weeks, he was like, you're very strong. So you're very strong. You should definitely consider compete either in athletics, doing shot put, or even discus, hammer throw, or powerlifting. He said you'll be very good at that. And I mean, I've done athletics before, and I've done shot put and discus, but I never thought of going back to it. But powerlifting for me, that was new. I was like, yeah, why not? And then I researched for powerlifting competitions. So I went down to Cork. There was a national championship, and then I saw how it was happening, and I loved the atmosphere. And there were quite few female athletes. So it was, I wouldn't say it was 50-50. It was maybe 70% men and 30% women, but everybody was supportive of each other. Anytime there was a lifter on the platform, everybody will cheer up for them. So I love that. And it didn't. And I've seen athletes from different size and form, because I was thinking that was in the early 2010s. For me, being an athlete, you have to look ripped, have muscle showing up. If you don't look like that, you are not an athlete. So I was kind of at a stage where I was going to turn 40. I wasn't feeling very confident in my shape. So I was like, being an athlete, I don't think I look like one. But then when I saw the athletes at that competition, I was like, yeah. So the athletes came in all different shapes and forms. So I was like, why was I convinced that you have to look a certain way to be an athlete?
Limiting beliefs for you.
Exactly. So that was eye opener, and then I joined the Irish Drug Free National Federation straight after, and then I
Wow.
went fully for it. I absolutely loved it. I was in the over 90 kg category, so there were less women in that category. I was always one of the bigger athletes, but It didn't matter because everybody was friendly, was really friendly, and it really empowered me to walk to compete in a sport that's with such an emphasis on strength and on power and strength. And I just found it so empowering. And also what I liked at the time, I really promoted the sport a lot on social media, so it really brought more women. After 2 3 years, we were
Hmm.
some of the competition, it was nearly 50-50, because I think other women like to see the fact that I was plus size, training in powerlifting, because the same, a lot of people believe that to be an athlete you have to have that look, and
Yeah.
not at all. So it was actually promoting a healthy way of competing in a sport. And at the time, the way I would, because I was working in a high pressure job, I always make sure, for me the main thing is always preparation. I will always prepare my bike the day before. I will always make sure that I always do my workout before going to the office. So I'm an early riser. I'm lucky that way. Some people are not, so they go to the gym afterwards. But I'll have everything prepared the night before. I also prepare my food so that I just have to grab the bike early in the morning. I'll eat the gym for 1 hour and a half, and then I'll walk to the office. So I organize my whole life around that, and my ex as well was very very supportive. So I go to the gym 3 4 times a week. My whole week was organized around that. So at the office, I do all the hours, and then walk. I would walk back then afterwards at home. But for me, the main thing was to be prepared the day before. The bag has to be prepared, and doing it before going to the office was just better, because then I don't have any excuse. I just find when I try to do it in the evening, sometimes I skip it because I'm too tired. So I really had to make sure to be to integrate my training in the day before the office. And also, as I said, back then we didn't have the option to work from home, so
Yeah.
I had to carry all the time a big backpack, so a very, very comfortable backpack. And also, I was lucky. I also had my heels. I will keep them under my desk, and I will always have some comfortable shoes. Always have an extra set of clothes,
Yeah.
just in case I'm sweating. So always organize myself so that I can walk long distance with a big backpack and then comfortable shoes. So always have to make sure that. And in the weekend, I make sure I do all the laundry and organize my bag for the weekend. Always organize the week ahead what I'm going to do, what type of training I'm going to do, and
So,
implement it.
so a lot of planning, always
That's it.
ready,
Yeah,
a lot of anticipation. So
yeah,
that's how you started your
mm,
like sport. I'm just gonna say career as well.
mm, yeah.
But could you tell us exactly like could you tell us about the championships and the the trophies that you got so that we get a
Mm,
sense because you've
mm,
competed at a very high level.
yeah. So the first one that I qualified first for the World Championship in Scotland in 2013, after winning the nationals and the Europeans, and that was amazing. So in powerlifting we have a three lift, we have a three tries per lift. So the first one is usually the squat. That's the one you get behind the squat behind the bar is behind you and then up and down, and then you get three tries. So usually you start on the lighter weight and then you go up to hit your personal best. After that, we have the bench press. And the same, you have three tries. Bench press is a bit more tricky because you have to, the judge can fail you very easily because you have to wait, you have to hold the bar until they tell you to put it back up. And then the last one, that's my favorite lift, that's the deadlift. So that's the one
Yeah.
from the bottom and then up. The same with the three tries. So I set up a world record at 165 kg.
Wow.
So I was super
Sorry,
happy.
165 kg bench press or
No, but the bench press I got 65, I think
so
65 kg.
sorry, what was the record? Was it was it like squatting or deadlifting?
So I set up a record for the deadlift.
Deadlift.
With
Wow,
the deadlift,
wow,
yeah, yeah,
175.
yeah. The 165.
Wow, that's
Yes,
massive.
165. So for the bench press, it wasn't a world record, but it's really the deadlift that carried me. And then for the squat, I think I got 115. So and then they take the total, they will add up the total, and then they will see where you stand. And then the total then gave me the world champion title in my weight category that day. So that's how it works. So it's long days because we were about, I think, 300 or 400 athletes on the day. So the days can go very long, very, very long.
Wow.
You have to be patient. Although they try to have two, three different platforms, but it's only one athlete at a time. So
Yeah.
that's why it can take it's exhausting. You'll be exhausted by the end of the day. Yeah,
My God.
depending on the number of athletes. So that will be so. I took part into at least over 20 powerlifting competitions in a period of time of for 15 years. So that's
Yeah.
how I got the four titles. I competed as well in bodybuilding 2017, 2018. So I got three titles as well, national and international and European titles as well with NIFMA. And I also competed in athletics for 1 year with Athletic Ireland with hammer throw, shot put, and discus. So I did that for a
Wow.
year, and then I gave up because I was doing both powerlifting and
Yeah.
athletics. So I gave up the athletics and I focused on the powerlifting. And
That's
then now
amazing.
I'm going back to bodybuilding because now that I've overcome my eating disorder, so I'm going back to powerlift to bodybuilding. My first show is in 5 weeks, 7th of June in Northern Ireland. So it's exciting now because it's the first time I get to compete and I don't have a corporate job. So it's perfect. I
You
have
can
all the
do
time
it,
to prepare.
relax, be focused, no
Yeah, be
stress.
focused, no distraction, no stress. So it's the best.
That's wonderful.
Mm,
A question that most women that are listening would have, and I
mm,
really want to hear your take on this. Obviously, you specialize in building muscles, right? You
mm,
know how to do that. You've done it.
mm,
Obviously, you have the kind of body that I remember that you build muscles quite easily. But
Mm,
for any women out there, because I know you said you're 51, so
mm,
most of us are close to 50 or over 50.
mhm,
What would be the advice you would give to a woman that goes to the gym like twice a week or three times a
mhm.
week, and they want to build muscle and they're struggling because they are at that stage of life where it becomes a bit harder? Could you give them like three tips or two tips, or just like your two senses on how to do that, how to do it right?
So first of all, is to have realistic expectation, because I think one of the mistakes that I hear as well from my friend, they are chasing the look they had in their 20s. That's not going to happen. I think you have to chase getting the best version of yourself that you are right now. Another thing is you have to be patient. It's possible, but it just takes more time. Especially if you are if you're a mother, you have a lot going on in your personal life. That's going to add up, more cortisol, more stress. So that's going to take even longer. So that's why I was like, I would be like very be very patient, and also definitely look at the protein intake, because I think a lot of women have tendency to not eat enough. To be honest, they always feel like they are eating too much, but really make sure that they have protein at each meal. So we're all different. Some people only eat 2 meals or 3 meals. That's why I'm not going to say, oh, you have to eat 4 or 5 meals with proteins. No, no. Let's say if you eat 2 meals a day, make sure that for each meal there is a good balance of protein, fiber, and then carbohydrates. If they can, they really have to be, I would say, um, they have to be disciplined and, I would say, consistent with the nutrition as much with the training. And I would say for someone, for instance, who trains twice a week, that's maintenance. You cannot expect, I would say, changes with twice a week. You have to look at 3 to 4 times a week. And then I know not everybody can afford, personal training, but definitely when you join the gym, always make the most of. They usually have one induction session, or at least, and they can design a program for you. If you don't want to spend money in the personal training, at least do that. Make sure they show you the machines and so on, and they write for you a program that you have to stick to. At least, I would say, you have to go to the gym at least 3 times, and definitely being patient. When you are 50, you can definitely still gain muscle, but you have to give yourself 6 months to a year, because we are not in our 20s anymore. The body doesn't change so quick. So if you are consistent, at least 3 to 4 times, and you have a proper program, you lift weight, you definitely include weight training in your program. You're also consistent with your nutrition. Make sure you eat enough protein. Don't undereat. Don't think because you have to eat less to lose weight. Is the complete opposite. Like as I was saying, I'm training for a bodybuilding competition. I'm eating 5 to 6 meals, and I've lost in 2 years. I've lost nearly 50 kg eating more. So it's definitely what you eat
The
based on your
quality,
lifestyle
yeah.
and the quality that's going to make the difference.
Mm.
But I'll say definitely the patience thing, because I have a couple of friends as well in their 50s, and they see how my body is changing. But I was like, I've been at it for 2 years. It's taken me a lot of time to get to where I'm at. It took a long time. It's a long journey at our age, long journey.
Yeah. Okay, now that's super helpful. Thank you so much for that. I mean, since we kind of touch on, fulfillment, happiness,
Mm,
and success. So today, because today you're living a bit of a different life.
mm.
What balance means to you today? What does that look like for you today?
Absolutely, like you mentioned, for balance, like you mentioned earlier, that you even refuse some client when you know this is not going to be a fit, and you even refuse to work with some companies if they don't align with your values. So that's the same for me. Like I love working part time, so I also have a client. But for me, no matter what happens, I make sure that I have my head space, my mental space. I am not willing to work even full. I don't want to work full time anymore. I love working part time, and I might take on 1 or 2 more clients, but that's it. I'll make sure that I have like 1 or 2 days, for even 3 days, for headspace, for my personal space, so that because I had burned out in the past, so I'm really careful with that. I always structure my day making sure there is a bit of a breather, there is a bit of time where I can have time for myself. Because I don't do well if I try to do 4 or 5 things in a day. I've tried that before. I'm terrible. It doesn't work. So one thing at a time, one thing at a time. I don't know if it's with age. I'm not like I was before. Before I could run and I could do 5, 10 things in a day. I'm not able to do it anymore. So I'm aware of my limitation. I can stress very easily and I can get overwhelmed very easily. So I structure my life now and my week so that I do one thing at a time. And even if I have to refuse full-time jobs or more clients, I will refuse because for me, the balance is so important. It's very important. So I'm very careful with the type of jobs I would take and the type of clients I will take. Even like sometimes my clients, when we started, she wanted us to train like 3, 4 times a week, and she hadn't been training for like 4 years. And I told her, no, 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 no. We start with 1 or 2 days a week, and then you do an extra session yourself. Easy, because
Yeah.
she wanted to go all in. Said that's not the right way. You have to have a balance because she hasn't worked out in 3 years and she has a young born baby. It's not
Yeah.
realistic.
Now, and
So
as you know yourself from your
yes,
experience,
mm,
you're in for the long haul.
yes, yeah,
That's how you achieve results,
yeah, mm,
with calm and awareness, self-awareness.
yeah,
Totally.
yeah,
So,
mm,
all right. Now, I'm sure when you transition
mm,
from corporate to your current focus, I'm sure there were fears
mhm.
that came up. Would you touch on those?
Yeah. So it's a great question because my mother freaked out. The
I
parents,
can only imagine.
they were the ones freaking out the most when I took that decision. And therefore they made me freaked out and doubt, my decision because I was like, oh my Lord.
That
They
sounds
made
like my story. My God.
Yeah, they were like, I was like, oh my God, what happens when that I'm not going to have a pension anymore? I'm not going to have a regular income coming in anymore. What am I going to do? I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to end up on the street. And then I was like, those are fears and they are valid. But I'm like I lived before with a lot less money and I survived. So I'm like, worst case scenario, I say I'll be fine. There is always a solution. And the good thing is in Ireland, there are a lot of jobs. I can always take a cleaning job. There is always an opportunity to do a job I might not like, but if I'm really under pressure financially, there is always a job I can take to
Yeah,
to
but
get
we
some money
we
in. So I
we
just I went with the flow, and I was like, this is where meditation and then self awareness is very important. I was writing my diary, doing the meditation every day, and then I calmed down, and I was like, I believed in my choice, and then before I got the opportunity to work in the gym, and I'm very happy now since.
yeah, but on top of that, with your experience, like
Mm,
seriously, you can land any job you want because an experience in what digital marketing, sales, it's you get any job. To me, it's like you have the skill.
Actually, to be honest, that's what I thought. But I got talking about the job market. I got a big slap in the face because my parents were so scared and I was doubting my decision. I started applying like crazy for 6 months. I applied for lots of jobs, not getting anything. I'm either overqualified, and I was reading that only 80% of the CV the companies receive, AI does the filter. So you get, it's very hard now. It's actually very hard. The job market is more ferocious than ever.
At
And
the
when you have
moment,
no
obviously.
experience,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you get in. They actually don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of people on the market at the moment.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. So
this,
that's why I'm like, I gave up.
yeah.
To be honest, I was looking for a maniac for last 6 months because out of fear. And now I'm like, no, no more. No, no, no point.
Oh, fair enough. So,
Mm,
so what I heard you say was like the fear of obviously lacking money, the fear of
mm,
being almost on the street. That's a nightmare. That's just
yeah,
that's paranoia, but
yeah,
it's natural. So,
yeah.
yeah. So, what advice would you give someone who feels stuck but they want to change, you know.
I would say you have to get outside your comfort zone because we love our comfort zone. And usually, when you're stuck, it's because you've been doing the same thing for over and over. You know, for instance, I'm someone who is very I'm kind of an introvert. And then when I started the context prep, I was feeling lonely. You know, especially when you do bodybuilding, it's a selfish sport, and because of the lifestyle, you isolate yourself. So I was feeling lonely, and I was like, "What can I do?" And I decided I sign up for Volunteer Island, and I'm like, so that I'm going to meet people from a different environment. So I started Tidy Town 2 weeks ago. Absolutely loved it. I met new people, and I started reaching out as well, reaching out to other athletes who compete, just trying to create a sense of community around me. I went to London last Sunday to see a competition to extend my networking. So I do things, I go outside of my comfort zone to meet new people. And I think that's what you have to do when you feel stuck. Get outside the comfort zone. And let's say if you know someone, if you know someone who is an expert, maybe in the field you are interested in, or and so on, that's kind of maybe in your circle. Reach out to them. You know, ask them for advice. So I think the one thing is we are scared to sometimes to ask for help because we feel like it's a sense of weakness, and sometimes you know you need to ask for help. I remember when I felt lonely, I told a couple of friends, you know, guys, I feel lonely. I'm looking for someone to train with. And I met a friend who did a we did a working out session together 6 weeks ago. And it really helped me saying out loud, I feel lonely and I'm looking for like-minded people or even getting outside of my circle of bodybuilding to meet new people. I did it and I feel amazing going outside of my comfort zone and being honest and tell people I'm struggling, I feel lonely, what do you advise me to do? And they gave me great advice.
That's wonderful. And that's a
Mm,
strength to be able to reach out to
mm,
other people. That takes
yeah,
strength.
yeah.
So there you go. Last question, maybe. What would you say to women over 40 who feel they are behind, they are too late? And it's just a general feeling as we're getting older. We might feel like that professionally if we want to make a change, or maybe physically if we want to change our bodies, or we're not happy with ourselves. Um, what would you say?
Well, to me, I'm like, we live in a beautiful era where you can do anything at any age. And I remember I had that feeling 10 years ago. I saw that lady, you might know her, her name is Ernestine Shepard. She broke out, you know, on internet like 10 years ago because she was I think 78 at the time as a bodybuilder. She entered a bodybuilding competition at the age of 78, and she looked incredible, and she had picked up weight training when she was in her late 50s, and then she showed us what's possible, you know, when she didn't when it's possible when you challenge yourself. So I think nowadays there is no, for sure, you know, by biology you'll be limited to do some things because of your age, but now you see so many individuals that achieve amazing strength, fitness, even who are successful in business in their 50s, 60s, 70s. Nowadays age is no longer a limitation. There are even TikTok or social media influencer in the 60s, 70s who are doing really well. So
I
there
love
is
that.
there is a market and place for everybody at any age, because it's not like the generation of our parents. You know, our parents didn't know any better. Once in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, once you're a woman of 40, 50, your life is finished. There is nothing more for you. But nowadays, life starts at 40, 50
I
because you have
love
more
it.
knowledge, more wisdom, more life experience, and you can bring so much to the table at that age. I think it's, you know, it's now it's completely, it's the opposite. There is no age limit, and everybody, all the time I see, I mean, on a daily basis, I see people of older than me that achieve even more than I have, and I'm like, wow, I'm looking up to that person.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Mm,
And that's, you know, and as we wrap up today's conversation, what
mm,
really stands out is this: high performance is not about pushing harder all the time. Just
mm.
like Arlette said, it's about learning how to work with your body, your energy, and your life as it evolves. A huge thank you to Arlette. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. You've been so open, the wins, the challenges, and the mindset behind both There is so much in her story that reminds us that strength is something we build over time, not something we are born with. And if there is one thing to take away from this episode, it's this. And she just said it actually. You are not behind. You are not too late. You're simply at a different stage. And that stage requires a different approach. Whether it's in your career, your health, or your personal life, you always have the opportunity to redefine what success looks like for you now at this very moment. Thank you so much for listening to the Healthy Over 50 podcast. If this episode resonated with you, feel free to share it with someone who might need to hear this message today. And as always, remember your health, your performance, and maybe your next chapter. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.